Good morning. Oops. Good morning.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Mhm.
Awesome. Are you ready before we let everyone else in?
Yeah, I hope so. I have a little internet snafu, so I'm hotspotting on my phone. So if I disappear, I'll be back.
Don't you love it when that happens?
It's so fun.
We need it the most, I'm telling you. I've
Yeah.
been to McDonald's twice now in the last 2 weeks because the internet went out. Or the electricity went out one day, so.
Yeah.
Just go to McDonald's and, try to pull it off, so. All right, I'm
That's
so
all
glad
right.
you're here, Sherri. Thank you so very much. I am going to go
Sure.
ahead and let everyone in.
Okay.
Go. Here we go. Yeah. Welcome, everyone, to the Millionaire Marketplace. Yes. While we are waiting for people to come in, let's go ahead and get the chat heated up. Heat that chat up. Put all of your information in there, your phone number, your email, your appointment link. Let's get that put in the chat. That way, if we forget it later, we already have it in there. All right. Others are coming in. Hello, Dar. Hello, Tamara and Odie and Helen and Sherri. We have several others should be here any minute. So with that said, go ahead and tell me what is the best thing that you are going to do today for yourself? For yourself, what are you going to do today just for you? It doesn't have to be anything big. It can be something very small. Stay in receiving energy. Yes. Perfect. All right, what's everyone doing for themselves today? Inspire someone today. Sherri, I know you have that whip. You'll get that quickly. Yes. And just so that everyone knows, we use the same link each and every time. I don't change the link to try to make it easier on us. I just felt like if I changed the link every time, we would be running around with our heads cut off and looking for it. So no, we're going to make it easy. Easy. All right. For anyone that just came in, we're heating up the chat. And we are putting in all of our great information, our email address, our calendar link, our phone numbers, and what is the best thing or favorite thing that you're going to do for yourself today? Just for yourself. Good morning, Vera. How are you?
Good morning.
Yes.
How is everyone?
Everything
I'm hoping.
looks great to me, that's for sure. So
Yes.
I don't know if you heard me, Vera, but we're putting all of our information in the chat, our emails, phone numbers, and appointment links right now. And what is the favorite or best thing that you're going to do today just for you? So we are getting that all put in the chat. And while everyone else is coming in, we are going to go ahead and go around the room and introduce ourselves for like 30 seconds. And let's see, none of our spotlight sponsors are on here yet. Wow. All right. So we will move on then. We will start with Sherri. Go ahead, Sherri. About 30 seconds. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, LaDonna. I will be sharing with you in just a little bit. I am Sherri Leopold. I am the CEO of Option Creators. I love to help you find those options to further yourself, whether it be make more money, be happier, build a bigger business, all sorts of things. I'm all about options. And I love to help you stand up and stand out as the unrepeatable miracle that you are while you're doing it. So, and I have a magazine and a couple television shows and a network marketing business and all sorts of things. So too many to list. So I'll just show up and be Sherri and shiny.
There you go. Oh, I love that. Sherri and shiny. Yes, yes. Olia, come on down and then we'll go to Helen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Olia, and I am a singer-songwriter and psychic medium. I help people to reach their full potential. I did just recently get my insurance license as well, working on my investment license, so I can also help people to manifest money and success and all the things that we deserve. And I think we're all ladies here. As ladies, we deserve it. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. More green stuff, please. More green stuff. Helen, and then we'll go to Dar.
Good morning, everyone. So I have a funny story to share with you. LaDonna, we have had crisscrossed wires on timing back and forth, you and I, for some time, and I showed up for this meeting an hour early. So here I am back again at the right time. I actually help you elevate your communication so that you are making the right connections with the right people, with the right messaging through bank communication intelligence, as well as storytelling expertise. So I love to make you shine the best way you can in words.
Oh, awesome, Helen. Thank you so very much. And then Dar, are you ready?
Yes, I am here, downtown Houston, and I am CEO of. Can you all hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. So, okay. I am CEO of Dar's Creative Cards, and I make homemade greeting cards to make everybody's hearts warm and fuzzy.
Absolutely, that's awesome. And Dar, I did receive my cards. I created a video on them and they are posted on Facebook and in our members group. And I'm telling you, they look awesome. Customized cards. I can't wait to get them mailed out. Oh, and Sherri's got hers in her hand. Look at that. I mean, it's just crazy how much work that Dar puts into a card. Look at that. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, and then we're going to go to Vera, and then we'll go to Tamra.
Hello. I am Vera Thomas. I'm a trainer, coach, poet, author. I have a podcast video show. I am currently preparing for a workshop for parents and their children between the ages of 8 to 13, an anti-bullying program that will incorporate both parents and children. I'm excited about it because it's going to be very engaging, very eye-opening, and very impactful. So I put the link in the chat, so if you can share that, I would appreciate it. I've got another meeting at 11:30, and I'm just praying to God that I can hear Sherri before I leave.
Yes. Tamra, then we're going to go to Dr. Joy. Unmute, please. There you go.
Okay, my name is Tamara, and I am a I help people restart or start. I prefer to help restart. I really want to work with the 50 plus group because that's my age group, and I've kind of been in that situation. I've had to start over like too many times, so that's my niche. So that's me.
Tamra. All right, and Dr. Joy and then Trisha.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Joy, and I help executive women and entrepreneurs to reinvent themselves and to be resilient. That's what I do. And my book is called The Art of Resilience, and it's all about women from around the world who have been resilient, so they tell their stories. And we have a summit coming up that's all about resilience, because that's what we need for 2024 and beyond. So that's who I am, and that's what I'm doing. It's an absolute pleasure to be here this morning on Millionaire Marketplace. How cool is that?
Yes, awesome. Thank you, Dr. Joy. Trisha, then we'll go to Jocelyn.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Trisha Pardo. I am an international mental health coach and an international master addiction specialist, but I'm also a credentialing instructor and trainer. And the list of those courses that I teach are in my card that I put there. Very passionate about elevating and professionalizing the coaching industry and practice. Happy to talk to anybody, even if it's a class that I don't teach. And I'm just really passionate about helping people learn why living without habits fixes everything.
Awesome, Trisha. Thank you. Jocelyn.
Hello, hello, hello.
We're just
So-
introducing ourselves, honey. I know you just came in, so just introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Jocelyn. I'm a personal development coach and Karuna Reiki master, and I help empower and guide women in breaking free from anxiety and people-pleasing tendencies and helping them and be empowered in really creating the life that they desire.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. All right.
Welcome.
All right. I think, did I miss anyone? I think I got everyone. I'm LaDonna McAbee. I am your host today here on the Expert Networking Millionaire Marketplace. And I am so excited to have Sherri here to talk to us about resilience. Here at the end of the year, the world is crazy, and now we're going into the holiday season, which makes it even crazier. Sherri's going to give us some hot tips on how to deal with that. So Sherri, you have the next 25-ish minutes.
Thank you so much, LaDonna. I appreciate it. And I'll give a shout out to Dr. Joy because we had a great conversation around this. I just actually shared this topic with a woman's group, so I offered to share it here. So I want to talk about resilience and how it fosters really good mental health. I like to say it's super important to mind your mind, right? And as we talk about mental resilience today, I'm going to share 3 points with you that will help you increase your mental resilience. So it's going to be about having a growth mindset, managing your stressors through self-care, and building a solid support network. But first, I want to give you what I consider the definition of mental resilience, and then ask you to help me understand who's in the room with me today. So, mental resilience is really the ability to adapt, endure, and recover positively from adversity, stress, or life's challenges. How you bounce back. I guess I'll put it that way. It's pretty simple that way. So I'm going to ask you all to rate yourself from 1 to 10 where on your mental resilience scale. So no one's allowed, by the way, to actually tell you or to say that you are a 7 just before that we get started. You can't say you're a 7 because that's the cheater. So when life hands you those kinds of days, if you're all the way down to a 1, that's the kind of days where you shut down for days and you feel like you can't do anything. And a 10 is like the minute something goes wrong or you have a stress or you're like, I got this, let's go, let's do it. And you're on fire and moving. So I would love it if you would drop your number in the chat. All right. See, we got strong business women in here. So I'm going to ask you a few questions now. Thank you for those of you that have shared. I would like you to raise your hand if you've had any of the following things happen to you that I'm going to say out loud. Just raise your hand, then put it down. Raise your hand, put it down, because I'm going to go quickly through these. So raise your hand if you've ever had slow sales or a lack of sales. Raise your hand if you've had people cancel orders you were expecting or you lost revenue. Okay. So raise your hand if you've had unexpected cancellations, renewals of a previous policy or something that resulted in a loss of income. Okay, so raise your hand if you've had to change the way you do business since COVID. Raise your hand if you've had costs for something that increased so much that you had to pass it on to your own customer. Right. Okay, so we're going to change lane a little bit. That's sort of more business. So raise your hand if you've had your sleep disrupted by children, pets, or significant other often in the last year. Raise your hand if you've had to deal with an aging parent or one in declining health. Yes. Raise your hand if you've had a death in the family in the last year in your close network. Raise your hand if you've had lost friendships or business relationships in the past few years. So here's the thing. If you notice, the hands went up, the hands went up, the hands went up. You're in amazing company because like everybody has stuff, right? And the thing that really, when I was working on this, it came up was the phrase that we hear a lot that, you know, life happens for you, not to you. And it's truly a lovely thought. But as I was thinking about that, I was like, I can just see myself going, oh, this craptastic event is happening for me. Woo! I woke up 4 times last night. I'm so excited. I could be here and be sunshiny for you because I woke up 4 times last night. So I know I'm making light of it and teasing, but the reality is that actually shines a light on your resilience, on the ability to bounce back and come and deliver. Anyway, I didn't wake up 4 times last night, but how you deal with life stressors and business stressors alike is going to depend on your level of resilience, or what I like to call your bounceability factor, you know, that ability to bounce back. So today I'm going to give you some insights on a few strategies that will actually help up that resiliency number and keep it up there. Because here's the thing, it is a movable number. The better you get at it and the more you hone your skill set in resiliency, the higher it'll stay. But there are days that it's not as high as maybe yesterday. So building mental resilience, especially in the business world, is essential for facing challenges, overcoming setbacks, and maintaining overall well-being. So I want to give you a few strategies to help develop some mental resilience in a business context. And you're going to see that the personal things sneak in there, which is why I did that in 2 segments when I asked those questions. So the first one is you need to learn to develop a growth mindset. So when challenges happen, instead of shying away from them or trying to avoid them, look at them as opportunities for growth and learning. Because when you encounter some kind of an obstacle, you see them as a chance to develop new skills and knowledge. If you can switch that in your mind about when you see something that didn't go right, you look at it as, how can I learn to overcome that and develop a new skill or a skill set or develop knowledge to overcome that? That is going to really impact that growth mindset and really up your resiliency. The other thing is learning from failures. This one is a big one. And I don't really love the word failures, but I think everybody understands what it means. Sometimes it's just falling short. It's not a full-blown failure, right? But rather than dwelling on our mistakes, we need to learn to analyze them very objectively, extract the valuable lesson that there always is, because failure is actually a really natural part of any business journey, and actually in life and relationships, but it provides really crucial insights to future success. I really want to encourage you to go pick up John Maxwell's Fail Forward book. If you have not done that, it is free on YouTube. It's in there on audio form. It will help you create a tectonic shift in how you view failure. You will learn to say, oh, I failed. Woo! Yes, now I've learned something and I can move forward, because failing is moving forward. It's learning. And the interesting thing about it is when you can shift that idea of what failure or falling short means in this terms of growth, it will also help you cultivate optimism, which is truly important for mental resilience. It is about training your mind to focus on the positive outcomes and the possibilities to enhance your growth mindset when you have something that appears like it's bad. Optimism can help you maintain your motivation, your resilience during tough times. Chuckle because I say you can call me Pollyanna if you're old enough to know who Pollyanna was. But it's that person that always, looks on the bright side of things. But here's the thing that I know for a fact. When you're really mentally resilient, you aren't looking for the bright side, you are the bright side. Hashtag make good choices. And it is a choice to be the bright side. To see the bright side is to be one with the bright side. And it is always your choice. So no matter what's going on, no matter how frustrating things are, you can always choose to be the bright side. So when you're developing that growth mindset, you're embracing those challenges, you're learning from the shortcomings or failures, remembering to fail forward and be the bright side, because others will look to you when you are that bright side. And that's truly what being a resilient leader looks like. So the next point I want to talk about, I hate to use this word, but I'm going to: stress management and self-care. I don't like the word stress management, just so you know, because it's kind of like time management. You cannot manage time, it goes on, right? We cannot manage stress. We can manage our response to it. We cannot manage the stress happens, but we can help manage how we feel about it with our self-care. I really like to encourage practicing mindfulness, relaxation techniques, meditation, deep breathing exercises. All these things will help reduce your internal stress and improve your ability to stay calm under pressure or when things don't go exactly right. So you want to really work hard to create a healthy work-life balance, which means dedicating time in your personal life, your hobbies, your activities, things that bring you joy, right? Overworking is always going to lead to burnout and decreased resilience. That number is going to sink the more you overwork and not, say all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy or Jill a dull girl, whatever. That's what that is. You have to have some kind of balance. It's sort of a nice personal reset for us. I did want to talk about the meditation and and I really encourage exercise, but I also want you to encourage you to try some journaling if you haven't done that. Now, some people are really good at that and they do it all the time. I seem to do it sporadically, like when it strikes me. I'm not very diligent about it every day. I do other things to reduce my stress. But you know what? The thing about journaling or even writing it down is if you have a stressful time with whether it's an employee, a coworker, or a relationship, write it on paper and get it out of you. So you write it out and get rid of it. And I want to share with you a speaker that I saw just prior to COVID closing everything down. And she was speaking about how, we carry these things with us and then it impedes our progress. So we wrote down something that we wanted to let go on a piece of paper. And then she went around with a bucket and picked all of them up and proceeded to walk to the door and light them on fire on the parking lot when she was done. And I was like, that was so amazing. And she said, we just collected all those things that we no longer need to hold and we got rid of them. So you don't have to light them on fire. You can rip them in pieces and throw them away. They're no longer yours. But it was her way of helping us let go. And you can do that for yourself. The other thing I want to talk about with managing stressors or that response to that is gratitude. every evening, well, I believe you should do it in the morning and in the evening, because the things are different that are gonna come to your mind in terms of gratitude. But each morning and each evening, if you could just write down 3 things you're grateful for, this practice really shifts your focus from daily stressors to the positive aspects of life, right? Which then ups the optimism, which then ups your mental resilience. So they're all connected, right? In fact, I love, 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 love the Balance app. I don't think I mentioned that, and I wanted to. The Balance app is an app that helps, with meditation. There's sleep parts to it. So I listen to it at night through a sleep headband. And it's amazing, but it has many different meditation things. It has different sounds. It has white noise, brown noise, all those things, wind, ocean, everything. So I use it all the time. The reason I share about it is because the Balance app is free for the first full year. So you can just go to whatever your phone provider or whatever is and download that. It's just the word balance. So there's a special app or a special meditation in there that's the gratitude meditation. And I absolutely love it. And do that frequently. And you can do that any time of the day. And here's why you want to know how important this is. You can always recenter yourself. Because I'm also a Dr. Amen licensed brain trainer, and I'm going to give you an important heads up on your brain right now, because it will impact your resiliency number, but it will also up your happiness factor. Your brain is not capable of feeling anxiety and depression at the same time as gratitude. Now, did you hear that? You cannot feel anxious, depressed, down at the same time that you are reveling in gratitude. Your brain uses the same center, so it can't do 2 things at one time. So what you effectively do is push that out. And so if you are anxious about something, I really encourage you to have a running list, but write out 100 things you're grateful for in a very focused way. People are like, I can't think of 100 things. They can run off about 20 right at the beginning. But the thing is, people try to think too big. I think you need to think like in totality. You have clean air to breathe. You have clean water to drink. You have shoes for your feet. These are fundamental things that some people in places in the world do not have. These are truly important. They're blessings, and they are things to be grateful for. You can walk, you can talk, you can hear. If you write this list out, you can simply pull it out and read it in those times of trouble. It's like a love letter to yourself of gratitude. So, and the visualization is another thing. If you're concerned about that, you can use to really sort of bring yourself into alignment, I guess, if you want to say, is to rehearse whatever you have to do in your head. So like if you're presenting a proposal or speaking, or like Dr. Joy has her conference coming up, in her head, I imagine she's gone through the entire conference and what it's going to look like, right? You can use this visualization in any life event, talking to your child, with a spouse, an employee, anything that's going to be a difficult conversation. Imagine that conversation and how it's going to go into a great end. Not like what could go wrong, but how it goes through, and that it is, it's come to a great conclusion. So that will actually encourage you to be confident in the situation. It will actually, it will play out better as you will in your mind have set the stage for how it's going to go. It will also enhance your mental resiliency. And one bonus point on here is grace. And that is giving and receiving of grace. That is giving yourself grace and understanding that you are not perfect. Every day is not perfect. Other people are not perfect, right? And some days you're going to feel more resilient than other days. And sometimes you have to give grace to other people, because you might be feeling like a 10 today, and somebody you're trying to do a project with or work with is at a 3. And we have to really understand that sometimes we just have to give grace to them. Sometimes we have to give grace to ourselves. But no matter what, however you manage these life and business occurrences that weigh us down and challenge us, however you do that is going to increase your bounceability. your ability to bounce back. That's just a word I made up with resiliency, because that's what it like visually means to me, is your bounceability factor. That's that number, right? Another way to increase that number is getting regular exercise and proper nutrition. Physical health directly impacts your mental resilience. Regular physical activity, I don't care if it's just walking up and down the block. It does not have to be, 60 minutes or 90 minutes in a gym. A balanced diet is going to be able to boost your energy levels, enhance your ability to handle the daily stressors. Now, I have a side note for all the women. If you are between 14 and holy menopause, I'm gaining weight and I don't know where it's coming from, age, I'd like to invite you to tune in to Dr. Mindy Pelz, Pelz on YouTube. We women need to get our bodies right. If you have a teenage girl or granddaughter, go help her learn how to manage her hormone journey. It will be the best gift you will ever give her. It will be a lifelong gift that will help her build her own resiliency and build healthy relationships. It's so important. I cannot stress that enough. It's Dr. Mindy, Mindy Pelz, Pelz. She has over 1,000 videos on YouTube. I've read all of her books. She talks about the 7 different kinds of fasting. You will learn more about your body and your hormonal health than you could ever imagine. It is phenomenal. So the next and last point is to build a good support network. Seeking mentorship and guidance, connecting with experienced individuals in your industry who can offer advice and support during challenging times. Mentorship can provide the valuable insights and perspective that maybe you're just not quite getting or you haven't learned yet. And this group is a place where that support can take place. I mean, when you look around the room, how many people can you call friend, right? Like, this is important. Work or personal, it doesn't matter. Relationship building builds your resilience. The more people you have that you can lean on, if you have a problem, or you can call, or I can say, LaDonna, oh my gosh, this happened, what do I do? That's surrounding yourself with a supportive team. Fostering positive and collaborative work environment where team members can lean on one another for emotional support and problem solving is key in resilience. If you work with a team and one person is not feeling heard or seen, their resilience goes down. And now you're askew at the power that your team can collectively push forward with. So we want to make sure that we're taking the time to make people feel special outside their paycheck, whether that would be in network marketing, whether it's in a relationship, a personal relationship. One of my mentors always says, every one of us has a sign on us that says, make me feel important. It's important that we do that for others, because that helps them retain their bounceability and their mental resilience factor. It keeps that number higher. And we want that because we're working with them or in relationship with them. So, and this is true at work, at home, everywhere, church, you name it. So in business, we want to engage in networking, which LaDonna is the queen of, building that strong professional network by attending industry events like this one, because it also helps create a space when you need an ear or a shoulder. So did anyone in this room reach out to someone in this group in the last 30 days to have either an ear or a shoulder or bounce something off of someone? I did. And I'm very appreciative for that. Like there's a couple of them in here. And I'm better for that. Networking opens up opportunities for collaboration, feedback, and shared experiences. And, as I close, I just want to remind you of a few things. Remember that building mental resilience is an ongoing process. It's also a changeable number, as I mentioned. It involves developing a set of skills and habits that help you adapt in adversity, and also, maintain that positive outlook, even in the face of challenges. It becomes who you are, and it determines your bounceability. And it will actually impact how other people can rely on you. So as it becomes who you are, people will begin to know you by your ability to handle life and bounce back. And by incorporating some of these strategies into your business life, you can enhance your mental resilience and increase your chances of long-term success in both life and business, because we're never just one thing. So I created this little set of 3 statements for a mantra for you. So I would love it if everybody would unmute, because I want you to say it with me. So I'm going to share 3 things and I'm going to read them, and then I would love for you to say them after me. The first one is, I am the bright side.
I am.
I am
the
the bright side.
Side.
I love it. I manage joy daily.
I
I
manage.
manage joy
manage joy
daily.
daily.
And Joy's over there going, I manage myself daily. Yes, I do. And 3 is, I build resilience through connection.
I build
I build
resilience
resilience
through
through
connection.
connections.
Awesome. So I'm going to actually put these in the chat for you. And then I would love for us if we would just say them together one more time here. Okay, so let's go with number 1. I am the bright side.
I am the bright side.
Number 2, I manage joy daily.
I
I
manage
manage joy daily.
Love it. Number 3, I build resilience through connection.
I
I build
resilience
resilience
through
through
connection.
connection.
Yes, you do. And look at us connecting. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
LaDonna, back to you.
Thank you, Sherri. Great job.
Okay,
Thank you.
Sherri, we had a question in the chat from Grace when you were talking. I think this was when you were talking about you can't have anxiety and all at the same time. She asked, does this apply to people who are diagnosed with clinical anxiety and depression?
Well, I would say yes, because it's actually a brain function, helping them understand how to see. It's like a tool, right? Once you know it, you know how to use it, you can use it. No offense to any doctors or whatever, but most of the time, if you go and you say, I'm feeling this way, they don't say, let's talk about how you could think about this. They usually say, here's this thing, let me write this thing for you to take, right? And I'm not opposed to anything, medicine or anything like that, but I do believe that our first method of managing any of that should be about how we can learn to mind our mind. And I don't think that as the general public that we are aware as we should be at how much power we have on our own body and our own mind. And we really need to marry that back together, because that's how you're truly powerful, when you understand that you are the boss of you. Did that answer the question?
I love that, Sherri. The words that you come up with in just the right times make so much sense. Awesome. That's awesome. Who wants to ask a question or comment next? So I know we have several people in here that deal with resilience and mindsets, and we all do to a certain level. Tamara, what do you have to say? Go ahead.
The thing that I have learned over and over and over again is the more that you practice your gratitude, that's the better the deal. I've read a book, it's called Living a Life of Gratitude. Living the Life of Gratitude. I cannot remember who the author is right now, because I just moved and everything's packed. So, but I do remember that book, and that book was what really got me started wanting to help other people. So
Awesome.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And I don't think you can say enough about
thank you, Sherri.
You're welcome. Thank you. I don't think you can say enough about how powerful gratitude is. I don't know, the gratitude and grace are really hand in hand, sort of got to give yourself the grace if if you feel like you can't quite get to the gratitude, maybe you got to give yourself grace, but you got to keep trying, because the gratitude is really, it's like the rudder of the ship, right? Like you're going to run aground if you don't have that gratitude grounder, like in the right place, right? And I feel like that is such an overlooked piece in business. People, like, I think they try to push it into some woo-woo thing, and it's actually not. It's actually one of the biggest propellers in your business. The more grateful you can be for knowledge, for people, for collaborators, for network events, like the more grateful you can be for each and every piece in your business and in yourself and what you offer and what you've been given in gifts, I think the easier business will be.
Awesome, Sherri. Thank you. And Dr. Joy, come on down.
Yeah, hi, thanks,
She's
Sherri.
the queen of resilience.
Yeah, I think that people great job, by the way. Love
Thank
everything you had to say. I think people, resilience is not a thing. It's so like nebulous, right? So it's hard to wrap your arms and your mind around what resilience is, and yet it's the very foundation of you and who you are. And I loved so much of what you said, Sherri. But what stood out for me was how important you are as an individual in your resilience journey. It's not something, resilience is an inside job. And like you said, you have to do this every single nanosecond. I would say day, but because there are days when I don't feel like being resilient. I don't want to get up. I don't want to do what I need to do. But yet you have to look at the consequence of not doing that and give yourself the grace. So I love the whole gratitude grace conversation, because it does get you through. And have a buddy. Like Sherri has buddies now, right?
That's right. I'm happy to kick all your butts when you're having that kind of day.
Exactly. You got
I
it
go,
right.
whoa, what are you grateful for? Is that what I heard you
Right.
say? You needed to express some gratitude?
Exactly. I have one that says you have 2 seconds to just cut it out. All right. Call me when you finish. And that's it. So thank you so much. Great job. All right.
Thank
And
you.
just encourage everybody, just do the inside work that you need to do on yourself.
Absolutely.
Perfect. You know, my most difficult obstacle with my mindset is I can bounce back from just about anything and everything, but when my fibromyalgia really flares up, it's hard. It's so hard. Sometimes I just want to sleep. But I look at my calendar and I say, no, maybe a nap later. I must get up. And I always feel better once I do get myself moving everywhere. Inside and out, I feel better. But it's that mind when you don't feel good, you just have to drive yourself to feeling better, I think. That's my feeling. But that's
I think there's a couple different directions you could go with that, LaDonna. One is talking to your central nervous system and saying, thank you. I'm so grateful that you are here to remind me that you're working for me. Like, that's a complete different thing instead of saying, oh my God, why do I feel this way? Right. Being thankful that your system is working. It may be overworking, but that's okay. That's just a shift in how you're perceiving it. I think the other thing is I really encourage you to read Dr. Mindy's books. And because she talks a lot about how food and what we do in our lifestyle, how it impacts autoimmune. She has just loads of information on that.
Awesome. Awesome. Jocelyn, what do you have to say?
There's a lot of powerful, messages here today. And just to speak to the medication piece that you had addressed, right? Having, experienced depression and anxiety at a very young age, and just that mindset around it, You're right. They're very quick to push pills, right? So it's shifting out of that mindset. And even with my own children now, it's like, okay, like, let's talk about this. Let's uncover what's going on. And it's not to say, no, you don't need a doctor, you don't need medication, but, let's explore our options first, right? Let's get to the root of what's going on before we start packing on pills, right? Like I was in grade 8 taking 7 pills. Like what 13-year-old takes 7 pills? Right? But that was that generation that I grew up in. There's a pill for everything, right? And it's
Yeah.
not, and I'm not saying it's bad, but when it's needed, there's appropriate and there's other things that we can do. And it's opening that up, right? To those possibilities, right?
And I would also go a step further to say that I think sometimes we also need to just address the fact that it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to
Yes.
feel mad. It's okay to not just feel neutral. Like sometimes my
Yep.
husband will say, "Are you upset about something?" And I'm like, "No." And he'll be like, "Are you?" So he's like trying, I can tell he thinks I'm not like exactly where I normally am. So I
Right?
just be like, "Dude, I'm just neutral. I'm just having a neutral moment. Like I'm not up, I'm not down.
Yeah.
I'm just
Neutral.
here." Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, like that's a big thing. Like we don't want children to cry. We don't want to cry, or we don't, I'm just like, you know what? Feel all
I
the,
show my humanity though. And
yeah.
even with my children, if I'm talking about something and I start to cry, I own it. And then I say, yes, mommy's human. I'm allowed to cry. I'm upset about this,
Yeah.
and they're looking at me like, wow, okay, like, yeah, I guess, it's giving them that safe space to do it too.
That's
Yeah, and
awesome.
I think where it comes in and where your resiliency gets impacted is when you keep replaying it, which actually leans into kind of my other area with the stop self-bullying, is where you start to pull that in and you start replaying it over and over and over and over and over and over, and it becomes to your detriment. It's there's a thing about when you feel it, you should be feeling it and moving through it. That's the piece. Is a feeling, and getting out and getting through it is how you need to do that. And like, grief, you're going to feel it perhaps over and over, but it still should be not a sitting in it. It should be a moving through it. And the more you can bring that resiliency piece in and strengthen that part of you, you're able to move through easier instead of sit in it, which is also kind of like what you were saying about the anxiety and stuff like that. It's like you get stuck on the feeling and you sit in the feeling instead of feeling it and going, I feel anxious, and you know what, that's okay, I'm gonna go do whatever anyway. And I'm always a big fan of in terms of anxiety and depression, and not just the gratitudes, but from a brain science perspective, exercise, no matter what. If you can work to a sweat, even, doing squats in your office, wherever, you will release endorphins that will change the brain chemistry that will take you out of that state you're stuck in. So exercise, and gratitude, you cannot beat the combination. If you can run or walk quickly down the street for 6 blocks and yell, I am amazing in your head, whatever, I am amazing. I can walk, I can see, I can breathe, and you're doing stuff like that. You will take yourself out of that space,
That's
and you'll
awesome.
actually regain your power.
That's awesome. How about you, Helen? What would you have to say about this? What did you get out of this conversation?
Yeah, I'm loving the way the conversation is going right now. But one of the notes that I made when Sherri was presenting was about having, community in networking groups. And I realized, and I'm sure a lot of us did this throughout COVID, we moved a lot of things online, and like a lot of relationships I actually let go because they weren't serving me, right? And so now when I'm networking in a group like this, I try to get here as much as I can because I want to support what you're doing, LaDonna, and I love the feel of this group. But it was just kind of a real reminder to me that our community that we build around us in our business is just as important as the community that we build in our personal lives. Because we spend time with these people, we want to be able to refer them or depend on them or whatever that situation might be. So that was just a great reminder, Sherri. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. And it is important. I think the stronger, more solid you can create those relationships in business relationships, the more successful you will be. And for that big point, Helen, is referrals, and people understand who you are, and when they understand who you are, they will say, oh, you should meet, LaDonna or Jocelyn, when you know who people are. That's why I always put in the chat my get connected thing, because I want to know who people are, because I love connecting people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Helen. And Olia, how about you?
Hello. I mean, no, I'm resonating with everything that everyone's saying. It's kind of interesting, the time of my life that I'm in right now. I'm in a big transition point. I had to let go of, I just kicked my ex out essentially of my house. So I'm living alone now in a very nice apartment. I'm learning how to, manifest and receive money. It's not just about obviously thinking about it, it's about taking action on it as well. So that balance. I had to let go. I resonate a lot with letting go of friendships, letting go of people in our lives that don't fit our energy anymore. And it's not in a mean way, like, oh, I hate you, don't talk to me anymore. I had to let go of a friend yesterday. I said, I really am blessed to have had you in my life for as long as I did, but I feel like we're not aligning right now. So I think we need to take some space, and, hopefully in the future we'll be able to come back, and it's all out of love. And I think that is a big thing. But in talking about resilience, I really loved your talk that you gave. I forgot your name already. I'm so sorry, Sherri. Because I think that's so true. My entire life I've had to be resilient. My upbringing, all of the things. I've never really had a chance not to be resilient, which is why I put it 10 when you asked about it. But I think it's so important, both for people who haven't, your talk is very good for people who don't really know much about resilience. But I also feel, and I love that you touched on being able to balance that with taking care of yourself. Because I think people like me, at least in the past, I'm learning it now, we kind of forget to do that. You're in survival mode for so long that you don't. Oh, I'm doing okay, but I really appreciate that, Dr. J. I'm doing all right now. I'm really thankful for that. But thank you so much for your talk.
You're welcome.
I want to reflect back to what Jocelyn said about crying and not crying, and how we were raised. The way my parents raised us is that men were never, ever to cry, ever. And I think that's not, that's got to be very difficult for these men that was raised that way and don't share their feelings. So I wish we would have had more men here today, because I think that's something that we need to get out there, that it is okay. I remember when one of our dogs were very old and we had to take him to the vet and have him put down. My grandson was very upset, and finally my husband reached over and said, it's okay to cry with something like this. But so see, we were even unknowingly, I guess he thought he couldn't cry because he was a boy. Maybe it's because he's never seen Pawpaw cry. I don't know. But that definitely, I think, needs to get out of our men. I don't think should be that way. They should be able to voice what they want to say, or cry if they want to, or, some way of expression, anger or stress or gratitude, whatever it is. Let's get it out there. Dr. Joy.
Yeah, I love your comment about men. They're really, really struggling right now. We have this forum, right? But men tend to isolate. and it brings them into depression and a whole lot of emotional chaos. And I'm coaching guys right now, and I can tell you that it's really a different world for them than it is for women. And you're right, it's about the upbringing. They can't, they shouldn't, anything that you look at as gay and all those things that are so not true. So yes, they don't.
Yes, awesome, awesome. And so Sherri, throughout this, I know you've done a lot of talking and listening and answering questions, but what is your number one golden nugget that you want us to take away from you today? I have so many written down, but what is your number one golden nugget that you really want us to take away today?
I think the fact is that, kind of as Joy pointed out, it's, resilience is an intangible. Like you can't pick it up like this pen, right? It's like something that's within you. And I started off, and one of the first things I said was about minding your mind. And that really sort of sums up resiliency, right? Like that ability to bounce back and still be present even when things are difficult. I feel like all of that comes back to minding your mind. It's really comes back to what is it you are saying to yourself? Because everything you say to yourself is inadvertently in some way said to everyone around you. So, one sentence would be to mind your mind. I mean, be so aware of the thoughts that run through your head. Mind your mind. And that will automatically have that number remain high in your ability, because you don't let people rent space in your head when they say things to you. They don't let you crash your business because they tell you suck. Only it matters what you think, and you mind your mind.
Oh, that's perfectly said. And we've all done that. We've all let people get in our heads, get in our minds. And there's always those negative people out there that you want to stay away from. You have to keep yourself surrounded by good, solid, happy, no drama people. I tell people I can't do the drama. I have my own family. That families are enough drama. That's the way I feel. Families, I don't care how good of your family is, you always have drama, right? I mean, come on, be honest. There's always something going on. And that's the only drama that I want to have time for. I'm sorry. I just don't want to have any other drama. Don't do it. And as soon as it starts, I just kindly smile and say, gotta go. Got to go, because I just can't do it. A lot of times I will not watch the news because I know it's going to get in my head and then I have to talk about it. My husband's one, he's trying to retire soon. So he'll watch the stock market day in, day out, sometimes several times a day. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I can't do anything about it. So there's no need in me hearing it because I can't do anything. So things that I can't deal with, don't want to deal with, I just don't. And I think that puts me in a place for me that surrounds my head around the happiness. So I hope everyone.
I agree, and I think it does ups that resilience factor, being able to mind your mind. You're just saying, no, thank you, that's not coming in. In my book, I have a picture of a hand with a heart in it. And I always say, this is the no, thank you, I don't receive that. That's what that hand is. And that's what happens. Like, oh yeah, what you were saying about the ex. No, thank you, I don't receive that. Because I love myself. That's why the heart is in the hand. No, thank you, I don't receive that because I love myself. Because you're choosing to love yourself first. And say, that's not for me. It doesn't, somebody else can go do it all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, they do it in the news and stuff all day long.
Did that when my daughters were growing up. You remember when it was like the hand, talk to the hand. I'm not talking to you, Mom. You remember that? They would always put up that hand, talk to the hand. You know how many times I wanted to slap them for but you know, that was their way of telling me that's enough. When I was telling them something, that was for my girls anyway, that was their way of saying, I can't handle anymore. I need to, you know, excuse myself. And I think that's okay to get that emotion out. So Jocelyn.
Yeah, no, just to add to that, I love that you said that because it's teaching, my kids at that young level that they can, instill those boundaries, right? And I even said this in front of my parents when they were here. I look at my phone and I see who's calling, and I ask myself, can I energetically take this call today? Right? Because there's some people that, drain your energy.
Yep.
And I said to my mom and dad, I said, it's not me being mean, but it's honoring myself. And then I choose in that moment, okay, dad called me an hour ago. I wasn't in the mental state to take the call. Why am I going to put you in that too? Right? If I'm not in that space, then I'm spilling that into your energy too. I'm honoring both of us in a sense in that moment, right? And then call you when I can, right? Because you don't really know what that conversation is going to entail. And there are some people that drain you more, like my mother-in-law, than other people, right? So it's respecting myself, right? And
100%. I do
and
that
when
with my stepmother because I'm like,
right?
I have to think, can I take this based on what I have to
Yep.
give to my business or whoever is coming up in the next hours? I know what she does, not always, but sometimes. So I have to make that assessment. Can I give whatever it is to her that she needs and still remain myself to give my best? So, and so a lot of times I just don't pick up the phone. I choose when I'm
Yeah.
in the space where I can handle it.
Yeah.
So
No, it's awesome. And it's modeling that for my kids too, right?
Mhm.
And my big thing is, we teach people how to treat us. And I say that to them, right? So they're like, ah, and it hits, right?
Life law number 4, Dr. Phil.
Right.
We teach people how to treat us.
Yep.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this has been fantastic. Is there anyone else that has a quick question before we go into the marketplace? Okay, if you think of something, then we will circle back around. And thank you for being here, Dr. Joy. It's like everyone had just a certain amount of time to join us today. Everyone's busy, right? And we just love it that people pop in when they can. So
I do have a question. Like, if you've got a phone call, the name's up there and you can say, oh, I'm not going to take that phone call. But when somebody starts texting you and then you answer them, they know that you're there, and you think that, well, that's going to be it. They're just asking me one question. I answered the question. And then they just like text and you answer and you text and you answer, and then you kind of feel overwhelmed and you're done with it, but then you feel rude if you say, okay, I'm finished with this conversation. But it's just, I don't know how to end the conversation. That's my problem, because I feel rude if I end the conversation, but I have other things to do. And so how do you do that?
Can I answer?
yeah,
Go ahead, please. That's
Yeah,
what I
no,
would love
no,
to hear.
yeah, no, I completely understand that. So you're basically, let me just make sure I understand. You're saying that someone wants to talk too long and you got other things to do, but you don't want to be rude and end the conversation. So what I would say is, hey, I'm really enjoying the conversation, but I do have a lot to do today. Do you want to make a time to call and we can talk a little more? So basically, you're not saying, and it depends on if you want to talk to them more, right? If you don't, you say, hey, I've really enjoyed speaking with you today, but I kind of have a lot to do. Let's talk soon. And that's it. Because you're still saying that you appreciated them, but you're also setting a boundary. And I think that it's really important to be able to do both of those things. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
perfect, perfect. Thank you. All right, so we are going to go into the marketplace, and we are going to start with Sherri. Go ahead, Sherri. Roll us out.
What am I talking about today? Let me see. I actually think one of the things I'm going to offer today is I have been in network marketing company. Well, I've been in network marketing for 26 years this month, actually. Woo! And what I'd actually really love to do is to just offer a 30-minute coaching session for you or your personal team if you have one. I would love to do that just to help you grow your business. So if you have someone or if you are in a company or would want to grow in that space, I would love to offer that. And I think I would ask you to just put in the chat network, #network.
Perfect. Hashtag network. You know, I don't know if you have not talked with Sherri, please schedule with her because you will learn so much and she will give you so much advice, so many golden nuggets that you will walk away with that you just have no idea. It just comes to her what you need to be doing. It's just like there's sprinkling glitter in her head that she can talk to you about. And
I
I've
just love
talked to
you,
Sherri
LaDonna.
a few times, but I put hashtag network because I'm never going to pass up an opportunity to talk with Sherri. No way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Let's go to Jocelyn.
Wow. Okay. This is my first time in this Millionaire Marketplace. So my offer today is I've actually just up leveled with my Karuna Reiki. So I am actually offering everybody here a free healing session. So if you're looking in just to rejuvenate, release anything that's no longer serving you, I'll put my Calendly link in the chat and reach out and just put Reiki or a message in the chat. I can even reach out to you, but anyone here wanting to experience a energy healing, I would gladly offer one to everybody here.
Awesome. So let's do hashtag Reiki then.
Yeah, hashtag Reiki. That's good. That's good.
Perfect. Okay. That's nice. Very good. And Grace, how about you?
Yes, well, in line with Sherri's talk today, the other day I was talking about essential oils and healing oils, and we even have one called Joy, an oil called Joy, and then another one called Valor. And so I could get you prices on that if you're interested in using oils and see how these oils can bring out the joy or the valor in you. And with scents, and both of these have such beautiful scents that you could use them as a perfume or cologne instead of any regular thing.
That's awesome. Okay, so do you have the prices for those, Grace, or no?
Not at this particular moment.
Okay.
I just don't. Well,
Okay.
how long are we going to be on here for? Some more time? I could look them up.
Probably not too long since there's only 4 of us, unless some people come back. I know Helen said she was going to come back, and Olia, but I'm not sure when. So don't stress about it. If someone's interested, just put in hashtag oils, and then Grace will get you a price. How's that? Okay, perfect.
What company is it, Grace?
It's with Young Living.
Okay, thanks.
And Grace, I put in there hashtag oils. I need something to help me relax and sleep better. So maybe there's something that will work.
Yes,
I'm always ready to try, because if I don't get my sleep, people will pay.
I'll look up that one for you.
And you know what? It's always the ones that you love most, right? My husband, I'll just tell him, he'll say, why are you mad at me? I'm not mad at you. I just have to take it out on you because you're the one that's here. So you know.
Yes.
So
And oils or something for your fibromyalgia as well.
yes, because if I don't get my sleep, that's when it really flares up. Okay,
Yes.
so what I want to offer today is a 4 sessions of strategy for only $99. I will meet with you for 1 hour per week for 4 sessions for only $99. That is a steal of a deal. I will help you get your business started on track, get it boosted, whatever it is that you're wanting. We will sit, strategize where your business is and where you want to go. And this is a perfect time because we can get it all booted up and where you want to go by the end of the year and start the new year out on the right track. So only $99, and that is a steal of a deal. So yes. So does anyone have, hashtag strategy, please. And only $99. And I promise you're going to love it. And if you don't, I'll just give your money back. That's how honest it is. It's get to know me better and strategize with me for you and your business. So with that, let's go. I know that there's several things going on in the next couple of months with summits and conferences, workshops, all of that. Jocelyn has something this week. Jocelyn, remind everyone what you have going on, please, and make sure you put it in the chat.
Yes, I'm offering it's a 2-day, 1 hour from 12 to 1 tomorrow and Thursday. It's I'm going over my program, the step-by-step in the transformation and how to go from being anxious to empowered. So it's just taking them through that journey and launching the beta program. So if people sign up, they get the beta pricing for this new program because it's a combination of 1-to-1 and group coaching. So it is tomorrow from 12 to 1 and Thursday from 12 to 1.
Perfect. And it's free.
And it's free. Yes, it's free. So come, I'll put the link in the chat as well.
Yes, please do. It's always good to try to get as many people there as we can from our environment. I know I signed up and I moved an appointment to the next day in the morning because I already had everything scheduled by the time I found out about her event. And that's easy to do because people book so far in advance with me now. I'm loving it, but I'm like, you know, things come up. So, Sherri, do you have anything coming up?
What I would encourage people to do is be ready for the Wow Warrior magazine that is coming out on September 30th. You still have the opportunity to become a share partner, which just basically means you will help share it out in social media or an email list, both, all the things, any of the things. And I would love to put that link in the chat. And what I will do is give you a free line of advertising in the upcoming magazine for doing so.
I'm on that. I seen just a sneak peek of it this morning because I'm in there and I just, I mean, that's just exactly what I did. It was breathtaking. Because it was
yeah,
so
we're still working on it. I was like, it was
not
definitely not a good thing for me to go on vacation a week before. I just got back last night. I'm like, oh my God, why did I do that to myself?
more than what I expected. The way it's put together, the way it's built, the way, I don't know. It's just, it was breathtaking. I'm sharing. I just can't say enough. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I'm in a magazine. You know, I just can't wait. And sharing it, why wouldn't you? I mean, why wouldn't we share with other people to get those beautiful articles out there? Because I'm sure they're all filled with golden nuggets that we need to hear and read about. And I mean, I can't wait. The story I've written, I never wrote that story anywhere else. And I haven't even put it on the website or in the, because I want the magazine to come out first. So
thank you so much, LaDonna.
I just love it. Grace, do you have anything coming up?
Well, yes, if you would like to fly to Toronto, Ontario, Canada,
I love Toronto. I would love to fly there.
it's a great place. Yes, there is a convention February the 20th and 21st, and that is with Organo Gold.
Now, is it going to be virtual as well, or just in person?
Just in person. The guest speaker would benefit anybody who was in business, because he's going to be just like how can I say it, kicking your butt. Do you know what I mean?
That's
all need it
awesome.
occasionally.
And you know what? We all need a kick in the rump sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the way we are, because we're human. That's, you know, I had not realized or figured out, why are these people not doing virtual and in person together? Maybe it's too difficult, but I wish that they would start doing that, because we're used to virtual now. And it almost upsets me when I can't go and support someone because they're so far away. I wish they would still do it both ways if they're going to do in person. But like I said, maybe it's too hard. Maybe it's not affordable. I don't know. Sherri, do you know why they do that?
You cut out the last few words you said.
I'm just wondering why they don't do both, virtual and.
You know, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's maybe a cost factor for having to pay for another because you got to have a whole system with streaming, and it's pretty expensive to have the bandwidth depending on how many people are coming in. However, it's interesting because of COVID, you know, and having so much stuff on Zoom, there's sort of been an interesting transition. Some people are like, well, I like, just for example, I went to Lavelle's thing in April, and I was there 2 days. It cost me $1,000. By the time I paid for the event, and I paid for the travel and where I had to stay and everything, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know, a person in network marketing, especially, and this is sometimes I think where there's a disconnect between corporate and the field. They have to think about, okay, if it costs me $1,000, how much oils, whatever, nutritional supplements, how much do I have to sell before I get to the first penny of profit? If you make 30%, you got to sell 3,000 before you get your payback. I mean, like, right? So you better be big inspired going to them places.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
And I realize they're paying, you know, money for speakers and things like that. But that always has to be, it's kind of one of the things over the last 26 years, you know, that I've talked with people about. Sometimes that is, you know, that's a factor in determining, you know, when you're investing in any kind of a conference or a training or something like that. It's really important to look at the aspect of, okay, if I carve the time to go do this, that's one thing. Your time is money and not replaceable, you know, and then how much do I have to do? How much knowledge, what do I have to gain to come out? So I come out that I'm at least even, like, what do I have to sell to make enough to pay that, right? If a conference is $500 or $300, you got to think about how much is it going to move the needle, and where's my break even point, you know?
Yes, Sherri,
All
that's
those
a
things.
great point, because I know just a few months ago, someone asked me to come and speak, but then I have to get an airline ticket. I have to eat. I have to spend 3 days there that I'm not going to work like I usually do. But I'm going to be away. I have to have a hotel, and they wanted me to pay to speak. And I'm like, well, why do I want to go and spend I mean, I would have learned something, I'm sure, because it was a huge event. Well, I say huge. There was probably about 200 people there, I think. But I did like Sherri. I'm like, okay, I really want to go. I want to support. And I know several people that did go. And I'm like, I just can't see it. You know, maybe, yes, maybe I'll sell enough, but what if? you know, and then to come to find out they wouldn't even let you sell at the event. So that was when I cut it. I couldn't even try to upsell or sell or even a book. I couldn't even sell my books or anything. So that
You know,
was super for me.
and that's interesting because that's kind of a thing, you know, for all of us business owners, is sometimes we have to think about what it is, you know, like I like to wear both hats, right? Like, because we do events, you know, like Helen doing the 5-day social media challenge, like these kinds of things, we have to look at how can I measure my success based upon what I've put into it, right? Like, so if I put in, you know, if it takes me $500 to get there, or I have to pay to speak, like once you say that, like, or to say it's $1,000, I have to look at how am I going to recoup that? Like, and what, in what way is it going to, what's it going to look like to do that? Right. And same for, I mean, like even in the free challenges, like in the one Jocelyn's doing, you know, it's your time, right? It's what you take with the information and how you use it to transform what you're doing. You are wholly responsible for that. But when it's not quantifiable, you know, and it's not feasible, like you can't see how going to this can yield that. Now, one person meeting one person might open a whole thing, right? So like sometimes I think you probably have to go on faith. However, like in the space of like network marketing, or when you're having a product or something like that, what you're going to get there isn't going to change what you're sharing. The product is the product is the product. So that's different than maybe like the event you were going to. Like if I go and my mind is blown by 3 speakers on how to do something and expand something else, that's a whole different thing, right? That becomes something wholly different. And able to be earned back in multiple different ways rather than just selling a specific product that I only get a percentage of. Does that make sense? I think it makes a difference whether you are the product, maybe, or you can control the product, or whether you're sharing someone else's product.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you know, we all have to consider what we have that we can gain and what our payment out is going to look like. And it's always, you always want to be positive that, yes, I can sell my program one time, it'll pay for the trip. Or yes, I can sell 10 books and that'll pay for the trip, depending on, you know, where you're going and how you're getting there. But, you know, it's always too about what you're going to learn. What are you going to learn while you're there? You know, getting
Save
that
the chat,
knowledge.
Jocelyn. I'm sorry. Before you leave.
All right. So, does anyone else have anything else coming up? Helen, what are you doing right now? What do you have coming up?
Don't have anything new coming up right away. I'm working on another workshop challenge, something that I'm going to do later this fall, but I don't have it together yet. So I'm just floating along.
Well, I know that Raul, he's not here right now, but I know he has his conference on Friday. And some of us are speaking there. I'll be speaking, Dr. Pat, Vera, don't remember who else.
I was so sad. I was supposed to, but I'm having a colonoscopy.
Oh, darn.
Sorry. I was like, I'd rather be speaking with you,
Yes. But if you haven't bought your ticket yet, please do so. Go listen. You know, the first one that I went to his, I just sat in and listened as an attendee. It was great to hear these stories of where people were and how they overcame adversity and how we can all put that to work. And, you know when I tell my story, I just hope that I touch one person to know that they're not alone. They're not the only ones that whatever it is has happened to them. And there's other people here to help them jump the next hurdle, because it's so easy to just sit and I don't want to say feel sorry for ourselves, but it kind of is in a way, but it's the only way we know how to deal with whatever it is that we're dealing with. And to have someone to help you jump over that next hurdle, sometimes that's all they need. Like Grace said earlier, a kick in the butt. You know, sometimes we just need a kick in the rump to get us over to the next stone that we want to throw. And that's awesome, you know, because we do have a strong environment. So I know that's coming on Friday. I know Dr. Joy has a conference next month. Dr. Pat has one next month. Mine is just coming out. I'm getting speaker packets out for November 4th. I'm hoping that I can get speakers from our environment. I already have some that's not even in our environment that will be speaking on different things. And it's going to be a workshop because I want everyone to learn many things from each of our speakers. So I want it to be a learning workshop, tools to walk away with, excitement to walk away with, so that they are on fire when we're done, and you guys want to go and do your business even more. Again, I did it in November because I thought, let's take that last November and December, those 2 months, and let's just fire it up. I mean, let's go out of 2023 with a bang and start 2024 with sparks, right? I mean, it's not too late to make those goals that we set for ourselves. We still have plenty of time, but we have to work at it. So yeah. So that's November 4th. And I'm gonna, anyone that wants to speak, just let me know and I'll send you a speaker packet out. Helen, I think you already have yours. Sherri, I'm gonna send you one. Hopefully you can join us that day. And if you don't want to speak, you know, be an attendee. We love those too. So I'm
Those are
expecting
always good.
about 100 attendees. So, and at least 100 is my goal.
Awesome.
So, yeah. All right. I know that it's not noon, but Grace?
Sorry, is that an online event or
Virtual. Yes.
it's virtual? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk to you about that
Yes.
later.
Perfect. And yes, it is November 4th and it is a virtual event. I love virtual. I love not having to get in the car and go from place to place and rush down Highway 75 and hope that there's not a wreck and hope I get to my next appointment right. I'm sure we all have a highway in our area that's like that, right? Where you just, if there's a wreck, it could take me 4 hours to get there, but I only, you know, put it down for an hour travel time. I just love not having to stress over that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh, I know what you mean, because here where I live in Ontario, there is a highway called Highway 401, well, we always call it 401, and it goes all the way, it goes right through the southern part of Ontario, straight through Toronto. And I'm telling you, if you have to go through Toronto, you know that it depends on what time of day it is. And the only time you can drive through Toronto, just like a breeze, is like from 3 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the morning. That's it.
exactly. You know, in our community it's building so fast here. I'm north of Dallas, and the suburbs now has came up almost to Oklahoma border where I live at. It just keeps growing. People keep building farther and farther out. And my husband works in Dallas, and if he's 5 minutes early or 5 minutes late, it could take him an hour extra to get to work in the morning. So let me tell you what, he leaves the same time. He cannot wait to retire. He's been doing that for over 33 years and he cannot wait, but he's scared to do it. So
it's funny because I think my husband was My husband was too, LaDonna, but you know what? It's interesting when it happened with COVID and he had to work from home. Then he retired. It was when he realized it was almost like he was afraid he wouldn't know what to do with himself. But
Yes.
being at home, working from home, he realized, oh, okay, I can do that. So that was what actually caused him to understand that he was going to be okay if he retired.
Yeah, I think it's either going to be his health or his frustration that's going to make him separate. He's just gonna, because now they're hiring all these new people. They don't know anything. They come right out of school, and he goes, "I'll tell them to go get a tool," and they don't even know what the tool is that I'm asking for. He said it was like if I was working next to you, LaDonna, and I asked you to go get a certain tool, you wouldn't know what it was. But they've been to school; they should know these things. But schools are not teaching them those things anymore. But it's crazy. So yeah, I really love working at home. I do. I mean, we have other issues. Is Zoom going to work?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, all right. Helen, we went through and did our offers. Do you have an offer for us today?
No, I'll just let it go.
Okay, all right. So we're going to end early today then. We had a good crowd, but I guess they all had something to do the second half. And, we're getting busier and busier with our business, it seems like. So I think once everyone gets us on their calendar on a regular basis, it will be okay. But we're still new and people are trying to get their schedules right. So hopefully that will happen soon. With that said, please do, post on social media. Go through the chat. There's some really important stuff in that. Sherri put a link so that we can share her magazine when it comes out. Sherri, how much does it cost to get a copy of the magazine, like in print?
The last one I had printed, it was like $22.
Okay.
It's very expensive. And I kind of had thought that I had done one before, and I had, before my mom passed, I had written an article, and so I wanted to have it in print. I was like, holy crap, this is so expensive. And I didn't understand why it was so expensive. But I realize now when I had this one printed, I'm like, well, it really is that expensive, because when they're printing actual magazines, number one, they print them on really, really thin pages, but also like the ones you'd buy in a store, but they're also printing millions. So it's a lot less, and they're getting millions of dollars in advertising. So it's,
But we'll pay $22 for a book. I mean, I have.
right.
So that's the way I look at it. And I would love if you can print me one for that or send me what I need.
Yeah, actually you can, when you go in and read the magazine when it's final, you can actually, you'll be in issue, you can go in, you can actually order a print copy right from that screen.
Perfect. Yeah. I would like to have one, just one for myself. That way I can share my copy. And then do you keep the magazines online so that?
Yes, they will be there forever. And that's one of the nice things about being a contributor. Sometimes I tell people, always make sure like your links that you put in there are evergreen, because if somebody comes in in this issue, they may go back and read the first one. And so I try to make sure that people keep their links correct, and then make sure that their links are always working. That's kind of part of office management. You're supposed to, like, even on your website, check all your links at least once a month, to make sure that they're in your personal website, to make sure that they're all working. I just had somebody tell me last week that one of my links was broken. And I'm like, I missed it.
Like, it'll work for one person, it doesn't work for another.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes if somebody gets a broken link on the first thing they click on, they'll just leave.
Yes.
Because they're lazy. It's not really me, but
they don't want to deal with it. you know, so they just move on, and it's sad because then they miss what they came for. So yeah.
I've actually emailed people. I have no idea who they are. I was just going to their site and I'm like, hey, you have you have a broken link. I've told people that in their funnels when there's been an error in their funnels. I've messaged them and said, hey, this doesn't work. You know, because we're all business owners and you can't get paid when those things don't work. And sometimes you don't know that something's gone awry. It might look fine. Like my site looked fine, but well, this happened actually last week. My assistant did something wrong in the code. And so my entire website became a funnel, but it was the payment page. And it was like, okay, buy this. It was like my name. And it was like, oh, and I was like, no, I actually was on Zoom with somebody and I was like showing them, I said, no. And she said, oh no, it's because you haven't logged out. Oh, so I logged out and I went back in and I'm like, oh, she's right. And I think it was only like that for one day, but I'm like, oh.
I know it doesn't happen at all, right? So yeah.
Well, and Helen knows that from just going through her social media challenge when things don't work and you go like, oh, why did these emails not work? And
Yeah. Helen's had a lot of challenges with emails, yes. The last couple of months, right? You just never know what the challenges are going to be when you wake up.
That's right. That's right.
Keep going.
All right. Well, everyone have a beautiful day. Share on the social media. Thank you all for being here. And Helen, I hope you can get in again soon. I know that you are swamping busy as well. So thank you.
Yeah, I try to put these Tuesday morning ones on my calendar. Monday night I can't do. Wednesday night I can't do. So
Yeah. If we can only get you on Tuesdays, then we'll take it, you know? All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Have a beautiful day.
Bye.
Bye.